Hey book nerds, welcome to my channel. So December's here, and ordinarily I would be all decked out in Christmas gear, excited for the holidays, but I am still in my student accommodation. I've not actually been home since September, and I do not have Christmas jumpers or Christmas decorations or like anything, which is really, really sad. But imagine I'm wearing a Christmas jumper, because I wish I was. So December, my TBR. Today I'm doing my Snakes and Ladders TBR. If you don't know what that is, I will link a bunch of videos down below. I basically play a game of Snakes and Ladders and it picks what books I'm going to read this month. I had planned to do a Christmas edition, similar to how I did my Halloween one, but I realised that I have so many books I need to read by the end of the year to fulfil my goals that I'm not actually going to do a Christmas edition, which is kind of disappointing, but I am going to pick Christmas books when I can because there's a lot of Christmas books I want to read. So if I can't pick a big book that fits one of my goals, I'm going to try and pick a Christmas book. There's also a bunch of books that I have to read, like I said, for the end of the year. So if my Snakes and Ladders board is not kind to me and those prompts don't come up, I'm going to just list some books at the end of this video that I'm also reading in December. Oh, and as a quick thing, I failed 3 of my prompts from my November Snakes and Ladders because they were the bunch of the physical book ones. If you watched that video, remember I said I wasn't actually here. I was away for like 3 weeks in November, so I couldn't take my physical books with me, so again, I failed those prompts, which is funny because I failed 3 I think in October, so these are just rolling forward now. But it means I'm going to roll an additional 3 prompts this month, which means I'm doing 8 prompts in total for this video. So that's 8 books, plus potentially like 12 books from my goals if the board is not kind to me. So fingers crossed, I'm going to start rolling now. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to random cover colour. So the first prompt is random cover colour, which could be in my favour. I rolled it and I got green, which is very festive, but does not fit any book that I have for my goals. However, I do have an audiobook out at the moment, and that is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've not started listening to this yet, but it is very green. I don't think it's very festive. This is about a woman called Evelyn Hugo, and she is like a rich, famous movie star at the end of her life/career, and she picks this kind of unknown journalist to have an interview with her. It's a big deal. She starts telling this journalist about her life, and that is the story. I'm not sure this will be my kind of book, but I've been on the waiting list for the audiobook for ages, and it came through at the worst possible time, so I guess I'm listening to it this month. I might enjoy it. I probably will enjoy it, but it's got a lot of hype, this book, but it's not really what I wanted this time. Ooh, that is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another ladder. Up to Author I Love. So the next prompt I got is Author I Love, which ordinarily would be like a treat. That's why it's at the top of a ladder. But again, guess what? It doesn't fit any of my goals that I have to read before the end of the year, or any of my festive books, so I'm slightly cheating with this one, and I've picked Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling's not really one of my favourite authors, but this is one of my favourite series. I was meant to listen to the audiobook of this with the Time Turner Book Club for November, and I didn't because November was a disaster month. If you see my wrap-up, you know why. But I would like to listen to it before the end of the year, so this, I guess, can count as one of my favourite authors because it's one of my favourite series. Sort of cheating, it's fine. I have so much to read this month. It's all good. 4. Oh, wrong way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thriller. The next prompt is thriller, and I'm actually going to pick a Christmas book. Yay! I'm picking The Deaths of December by Susi Holliday. I have this in physical format. It's not with me, it's back home, but I'm going home like halfway through December, so it should be fine, unlike November. But this is a thriller about the police get sent an advent calendar, I believe, and behind each door there is a different grisly murder that has happened, but the final 4 doors are blank and they're waiting to be filled, so there's going to be more murders that happened. It sounds like a really good standard Christmas thriller. I like reading Christmas themed books in December, as most people do, but I particularly like reading thrillers, or not necessarily cute contemporary romances, but something with a bit more of an edge to it. So this should be really interesting, and hopefully I'll really like it. 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anticipated thriller. So right after the thriller prompt, we have the anticipated thriller prompt. This was for an abandoned goal from way back at the start of the year, but it does mean that I can pick a book from all my other goals, and I've picked The Window by Amelia Brunskill. This is a young adult thriller. This is about a girl whose identical twin supposedly threw herself from a window and killed herself, but she doesn't believe that's the case. She kind of realises she didn't know everything about her twin. Sort of standard investigating someone's death plot. It is really common in young adult, but I heard a lot of buzz about this, I think at the start of last year when it came out, and it's one of my books that I really wanted to read before the end of the year, so I'm glad that the prompt has been kind to me this session for once. Ooh, that is a 6. I'm gonna cycle through the whole board again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, first time this prompt's come up, a superhero book. So the next prompt is superhero book, which is a really weird one for December again. This prompt has never come up before, and I have loads of superhero books on my TBR, but guess what? They're not really what I want to read this month. So this kind of counts, I think, and this is Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. Roanhorse, sorry. This is about a girl with superpowers. So she's not quite a superhero, but she's like a monster hunter. And I figured that was close enough to allow it, because this is one of my goal books. So this is about, like I said, she's a monster hunter, and she teams up with some kind of medicine man, I believe, to investigate something. There's like some kind of conspiracy behind the monsters, or something's going on. It's a fantasy book, dystopian book. It was on my most anticipated releases of 2018, and it's one of the books I have to read before the end of the year, so hopefully it'll be really good. I put it off since the end of the year, but I have not really heard anyone talk about it who's actually read it, to be honest. I heard loads of people put it on the TBR and no one actually seemed to read it, but I will read it and I will let you know what I think, so you'll get a review. Ooh, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Book in a series. So the next prompt was to read a book in a series. I think you can tell how panicked I am getting by these prompts, because like I said, they're not really working with me. This one's alright, I can work with this one, and I've picked Grim Lovelies by Megan Shepherd. So again, this is one of my most anticipated 2018 releases to read in 2019. A lot of the books that I have to read before the end of the year are from that list. This is a fantasy book about a group of, I think it's 4 or 5 teenagers who live in this world where they work for a witch, and basically they used to be animals and they've been turned into humans by this witch to act as her slaves, and then the witch gets murdered, and I believe the human animals have a limited amount of time before they will be turned back into animals, and they have to do something to stop that from happening, or else they'll all lose their memories. That's all I really know about it. I'm quite interested by this one. Again, it's something I heard a lot of people talk about and not a lot of people seem to actually read. It sounds really cool. There is a sequel to it, so it's part of a book in a series, and yeah, I quite like dark fantasy reads near the end of the year, so it should fit quite nicely in with that. 1. Random cover colour again. So I got random cover colour again, and you guys are never going to believe this, but I randomly generated red. So Even though the content of this video is not very festive, I've generated green and red, which are Christmas colours, so the universe wants me to be festive. Alas, I'm not picking a festive book for this, but I will strive to read more festive books because of this. And it is Blanca y Roja by Anna-Marie McLemore. So this is a fantasy book. This is about two sisters, and I think it's something to do with an old fairy tale about swans. I don't remember what else it is about because I'm blanking at the moment, but I think there's like some kind of prophecy about these sisters, or there's something that happens with them. This is the worst description of a book ever. I'm just going to check quickly what it's about. Ah yes, so the two sisters have a curse, and at some point these swans will draw them into a game, and one of them will become a swan forever and one of them will stay human. But then I think two boys get pulled into the game as well, and that complicates things, and I don't really know what happens beyond that, but it sounds really cool. And yes, it's one of the books I really wanted to read before the end of this year. Another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Family member in the title. And the final prompt is a really weird one, but it is family member in the title, and thankfully this actually works with one of my goals, which was to read a book by certain authors before the end of the year. And I've picked Blood Sisters by Jane Corrie. This is a thriller about two sisters. Says 3 little girls, 1 good, 1 bad, 1 dead. So I assume 3 sisters and one of them dies, and there's mystery surrounding their deaths. I've got a lot of thriller books by Jane Corrie on my TBR, which is why she was on my list of authors to read before the end of the year. I've not read any of them, so I'm hoping this one's good, because otherwise I'm taking like 4 thrillers off my TBR. But this is my favourite sounding out of those ones, so again, it's a weird pick for December, but at least the board let me do some of my goals. So those are all of my Snakes and Ladders TBR books. I'm gonna very quickly go through some other books that I'm hoping to read in December because they are Christmas books or because I have to read them for my goals. That really wasn't very Christmassy and I'm very sorry. I'm actually going to change how I do the Snakes and Ladders massively in January, so keep an eye out for my January Snakes and Ladders TBR. I think it's going to be a lot more varied, and I've got some really cool ideas for how I can shake it up. So I will be planning on doing that. I'm very excited for that. So now I'm just going to talk really briefly about some books that I'm not going to want to read. So A Christmas Railway Mystery by Edward Marston. This is a Christmas themed murder about a train, I believe. Not read any Edward Marston books, but I used to get recommended him a lot when I worked at the works, so I'm hoping this will be good. Again, Christmas themed murder, kind of my brand. Speaking of which, we have The Secret Santa by Trish Harnetiaux. Again, this is a thriller set at Christmas time. This is about a secret Santa gift giving at a party that turns into a hunt for some killers. Sounds really cool. I've got an arc of this that I really want to read. I'll definitely be reading this one around Christmas time. And we have another arc I got given, which is a Midwinter Mysteries, which is a collection of short stories by a whole bunch of authors. You can see all their names there. These are all set around Christmas or at winter. Again, more Christmas themed murder, because you know, if Christmas isn't the time for murder, then what is? And then we have 2 more goal books. So we have Neil Gaiman's American Gods, which I have an audiobook. I might swap this out. This is my author goal. I might swap this out for Good Omens because I also have that on audiobook. And my friend actually really wants to like buddy listen to it with me. Is buddy listening a thing? I don't know. But yeah, so I might swap it out for Good Omens depending on how I feel. But American Gods was the one that I originally picked, and I also have that on audiobook. And then my final other goal book is At the Edge of the Universe by Shaun David Hutchinson. I don't remember what this is about. I think it's about a teenager whose best friend goes missing and no one remembers that he exists. But I could be wrong. So yeah, that is a lot of books. That is a lot of books that I have to read before the end of the year. I'm okay about it. I think I can get a good chunk of them done. And I want to read Christmas books as well. I really want to be Christmassy. I'm very sad that this video is not Christmassy, but I promise that like February I'll probably do like a Valentine's themed TBR for the Snakes and Ladders thing. And yeah, I do wish I could make this more Christmassy, but I will plan out my goals better for next year, probably. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. It helps me out massively. Let me know what you're reading in December. If you're reading any Christmassy books or you know of any great Christmassy books, do share them, because I need a little bit more festivity, and I hope to see you next time.